Hey everybody, Lindsay Phipps from Lindsay Phipps Fitness here, and today I wanted to make a quick video, hopefully quick, about 16 things I wish I had known before I started my health and fitness journey. So I started my health and fitness journey officially, I think probably about 7 years ago, and in the last 7 years I've learned a lot. And I was thinking that maybe if I could share some of these insights with you guys, maybe it would sort of speed up the process for you, or maybe you would have a few light bulb moments. Some of these things I learned several years ago, some of these things 2 years ago, some of these things just in the last couple of weeks. And I feel like if I had known these things before starting my health and fitness journey, and if they had really clicked with me, and I really understood and believed them, I probably would be further along in my journey than I am now. So I'll try and blast through these quickly so this doesn't take too long. So number one is when you start a health and fitness journey, it's going to be hard as fuck. Plain and simple. It's going to suck for probably a couple of weeks. Maybe for some of you who haven't eaten healthy in a really long time or ever, or haven't worked out in a really long time, or maybe you've never worked out, it could be a couple of months that it's going to suck. But you have to remind yourself that the benefits of starting this health and fitness journey far outweigh the suck factor. You have to choose which like uncomfortable you want. Do you want to continue being uncomfortable in your body and how you feel, not just physically but mentally? Do you want to continue feeling like you can't keep up with your kids, or feeling like you can't do physical things that you really want to do? Do you want to continue worrying about your health and how it might continue to deteriorate, or what issues you might face in the future? Or do you want to be uncomfortable for a couple of weeks while you start a new health and fitness program, while you learn to eat new things and cook new things, and be sore from a new workout? You have to decide which is more important to you. Okay, do you want to get outside of your comfort zone and just feel uncomfortable for a while and just know and just expect that it's going to be really tough at first? With that said, for all of us, for some of us, it gets a lot easier after a couple weeks. It gets a lot easier after a couple months. For some of us, it might take a year to get easier. But if you just stay consistent and keep at it, I promise you, eventually it gets easier. And when it does get easier, expect that there's going to be hiccups. You might start a new job, go on a trip, maybe you have a new kid, or you decide to start a family, or maybe you buy a new house, you move across the country. There's lots of different things that can come in and sort of throw a wrench in our routine, and then you just have to pick up right where you left off and keep at it and keep going. And during that time, you just have to expect that it's going to be tough. Staying on track with your health and fitness goals, with your daily workouts, with your meal plans. It might just be easier to grab food on the go. But just know that the longer you do this, the easier it gets. And it doesn't feel like such a struggle to get up and work out and to meal prep and to eat healthy. Eventually, it does get better. So number two, your health and fitness journey does not have to be an all or nothing deal. A lot of us, and myself included, and when I talk to people, we think that, well, I can't do it right now because I can't do it all. If I can't work out balls to the wall 30 minutes a day and eat super clean, I'm just not going to do it. If I can't do what I expect of myself. Well, if you look at it that way, there might never be the right time to start, right? For a lot of people, that just immediately, when you have that mindset, it's going to overwhelm you to the point where you don't even want to start. You don't even want to think about starting. You don't even want to think about what little steps you could take to get started. So for some of us, that's totally okay. We want to start a workout program. We want to start our new meal plan. And we do both at the same time, and we just hit it hard. You have to be careful not to wear yourself out physically and mentally, because then you're likely to give up or to get off track. For those of you that it just feels really overwhelming to sort of attack everything at every angle, just focus on one thing. It's okay to do that. You're not failing. If you just focus on, maybe working out is a little easier for you than eating healthy. So start with working out. And if you can do that consistently, 5 or 6 days a week for 30 minutes a day for a couple of weeks, then start incorporating some better health and healthier eating habits. And then when that's more consistent, follow a specific meal plan. And when that's consistent, you know, take the next step. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. It can be these little baby steps that eventually everything comes together and the whole picture comes together and you're doing everything you need to do to be fit and healthy. If you wait until that perfect moment to start it all, you're going to be waiting a long damn time and you're going to be wasting a lot of time. Instead, 2 months from now, you can say, well, I'm really glad I started working out 3 days a week, because if you hadn't at least started working out 3 days a week, you'd still be doing nothing, right? Or I'm glad I decided to drink more water and cut the soda out 3 months ago, because now you've made progress and you're not drinking soda anymore and you're more aware of what you're eating. So keep in mind that it doesn't have to be all or nothing. You can take this process little steps at a time, and eventually those build up until you're following a very healthy lifestyle. Number 3 is stop starting over and stop waiting to start. So sometimes I get messages from people that say something like, I went on vacation and I went crazy and ate a bunch of shit and drank a bunch of alcohol and now I have to start over. Or we moved into our new house and I haven't done a workout in a month and now I have to start over. You don't have to do that. Just start where you left off. If you were 1 week into the 21-day fix workout program, start with week 2. Depending on how far off you are, like if you took a whole month or 2 off, just start with day 1. No big deal. Don't feel like mentally you're starting over. If you just skipped a couple days, just pick up where on the scheduled workout for that day. You don't necessarily have to start over every single time you have a little hiccup in your journey where you make a little mistake. And the other thing was for number 3 is to stop waiting to start. There is never, ever, ever going to be a perfect moment to start a health and fitness journey. You will always have reasons to put it off. You'll always have excuses. And you just have to rip off the Band-Aid and make the decision that you're number 1 priority and just do it. Because if you say, I'm going to start working out more when, fill in the blank, well, when that thing actually happens, there's going to be something else that comes up that makes you say, all right, well, now I need to wait and start when. And eventually a year has passed and you haven't even started. And then suddenly you're even more out of shape. You're feeling worse about yourself. You've been to the doctor and got some not so great test results. It all sort of builds up, and it's your choice whether it builds up in a negative way or it builds up in a positive way. And going back to number 2, if you just start tomorrow, and it doesn't have to be I'll start on the 1st of the month, I'll start on Monday. Just start now. Just start tomorrow. Start making those healthier decisions starting now. And like I said, those things are going to compound, and eventually you will be doing everything you need to do to be healthy. So stop waiting to start and stop starting over. Number 4 is don't make it your number 1 goal to lose weight. You need to have a deeper reason why you're on this journey to be healthier and fit. And that's because if your goal is solely to lose weight, you're guaranteed to get frustrated and to hate yourself and to quit, because your weight is going to fluctuate no matter what you do, especially if you're a woman, and I'll go over that in a different one. Hey. But if your goal is to lose weight only, you're going to get really frustrated with the process and you're going to give up on it, because the weight takes a lot of time to come off. And you need to focus on those little non-scale victories that you're having in the meantime. Are you feeling better? Are your clothes fitting better? Are people commenting that you're glowing and you're happy and that you seem to just be doing a lot better? You're a more positive person. These are all awesome side effects of healthy eating and fitness. It's not just about trying to lose weight. That should just be a side effect of it. If you consistently eat healthy every day and you consistently work out for 30 plus minutes every day, the weight's guaranteed to fall off. It's going to come off eventually, no matter what. If you just do that consistently, it's going to come off. So just trust the process that it will come off and focus on a deeper reason as to why you're doing it. Is it because you want to be more active with your kids? You're tired of being on the sidelines when they're out playing or being active? Is it because you've always wanted to participate in a sport or learn how to ski or go skydiving or do something that you can't do now because of what your weight is or because you just physically aren't able to? Are you pre-diabetic? Are you predisposed to have certain diseases because they run in your family? A lot of those things can be prevented if you take control of your health and fitness now and make your health priority number one. And it's not selfish. I hear that a lot from moms. And granted, I'm not a mom, so I can't relate, but I know a lot of moms who've had that aha moment that once they made their health and fitness a priority, they were better able to take care of their kids. They were in a better mood. They were better able to handle stress. They were, being a good example for their kids so that their kids learned how to have a healthier lifestyle, because you don't want them to be dealing with the same struggles you are as an adult. You want them to learn young, to be active, to be fit, to eat healthy. So make sure that you're focusing on a deeper reason. If you have a deeper reason why you're doing your health and fitness journey, those mornings that you don't want to get up and work out, those days that you want to give in, and you get that mindset that you're going to have to start over, you're less likely to do it because you can remind yourself why you started in the first place. All right, number 5 is you don't need to eat all day. You need to learn your hunger cues. So this is one thing that I didn't realize. I knew that I needed to eat like 3 meals a day and 1 or 2 snacks a day, many meals spaced throughout the day. But I got into the really bad habit of just constantly eating. And while I was hitting my goals for my macros and my calories, I was never letting my body digest food before I was putting more food into it. And so I never learned my hunger cues. And so I thought within 2 hours, I was just automatically hungry and I would get grumpy and maybe get a headache and feel sick. And then immediately I was putting food into my mouth to alleviate that. And what I did is I created a habit. And this is something I just learned in the last couple of weeks. And that is that I needed to learn my hunger cues. I didn't just need to, I felt uncomfortable for a few minutes. And so I thought I need to put food in my body and it made me feel better. Well, that was just a habit I had created. So over the last couple of weeks of doing this detox that Jeremy and I are doing, where you're set to eat at certain times throughout the day. And in the meantime, if you feel like you're hungry, you need to just drink water. And I've learned that all those times that I thought I was hungry, for the most part, I really wasn't hungry. I had just created a habit. I maybe was thirsty and I just needed to drink some water. And I was uncomfortable for 20 or 30 minutes where I felt hungry and I felt like I was going to get a headache or I felt like I was going to be sick. And then it went away and I was fine and I forgot all about it. And that's because I broke that habit. So while eating 5 or 6 small meals throughout the day or intermittent fasting works for other people, find what works best for you. Just know that you need to learn your hunger cues and realize when you're eating, is it because you're hungry? Number 6 is that it's guaranteed that progress will slow down and you will hit plateaus throughout your journey. There's no way around it. It's going to happen. If you're somebody who needs to lose 40, 50, 60 or more pounds, you're going to drop a lot of weight at first, maybe for a couple of weeks, maybe even for a couple of months. And then you're going to hit a plateau and progress is really going to slow down the closer you get to your goal weight. I'm like 15-ish pounds away from my goal weight. And so I've really struggled with plateaus over the last year to get to that goal weight. And a lot of times that's because we hit these plateaus and our progress really slows down because we're still doing the same exercise or we're still following the same program and nutrition, like meal plan, the same number of calories that we were following back when we were 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds heavier. We need to remember that as you're losing weight, as you're progressing and getting stronger, you need to adjust things for that new person that you are, for how strong you are now. You need to adjust those things as you go. That way that you're less likely to hit a plateau, and when you do, you can get off of it faster. So if you hit a plateau and it's been a couple of weeks, reach out to me and I can give you some ideas about how to get off of it. But just expect that you will have that slow progress the closer you get to your goal. And the difference between you, who you are today, and who you really want to be and who your goal is if you just push through those plateaus and push through when that progress slows down. A lot of times that is a great opportunity for us to just give up and go back to our old bad habits, and then we gain all the weight back. Maybe even we gain more weight back, and then we get really frustrated with it, and then we say that it didn't work. Well, that program didn't work because I gained all the weight back. Well, be honest with yourself. Did it happen because you got a little off track and you went back to your old habits? Did it happen because things got tough and you started to struggle and you weren't seeing the results that you were hoping to see, and so you gave up on it? Well, you need to push through that and get to the other side of it, because when you get to the other side of it, progress will pick up again, the weight will start to drop again, you'll start to see the results in the mirror, and you'll continue along on your journey. You'll be really glad you stuck with it. So number 7 is your workouts need to be non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. Don't make it an option. So when I first started, it was optional, like if I did my workout or not. And if you make it optional, then you're more likely to do the thing that you really would rather do instead of work out. Well, that might be sleeping in, watching some extra TV, doing something that isn't very healthy. So if you make it non-negotiable, just like brushing your teeth, taking a shower, being on time to work, going to your meetings with your boss, those are all things those are appointments that you make with yourself. Those are non-negotiable things. Those are part of your daily routine, your habits. If you do that and you just get in that mindset that I will not miss a workout because it's just part of my daily routine, I know that I feel better when I get my workouts in, I have more energy, I'm more productive, then you're less likely to miss them. And those few days that you do miss it because shit just hits the fan and there's nothing you can do about it, don't beat yourself up about it. Try and get it in later in the day, double up the next day, or just get right back on plan the next day. Number 8 is no one was born with willpower or motivation. So a lot of us idolize specific athletes, models, actresses, maybe just other friends, and we look at them and think, God, if I just had her motivation, if I just had her willpower, maybe I wouldn't eat this cupcake, or I wouldn't have gone back and eaten the whole damn pizza by myself, or if I just had her motivation, I'd be able to work out every day. Well, whoever she is that you just wish she had her motivation or willpower, she had to work for it too. She wasn't just born with unlimited amounts of willpower and motivation. There's no such thing. Motivation and willpower are like your muscles. You have to exercise them to make them stronger. So every time you tell your friend that offers you a treat at work, no thank you, I packed my lunch today. Every time you get up and you do your workout, every time you drive by the fast food restaurant that you always hit up on the way home or on your lunch break or on your way to work, every time you follow through, your willpower and your motivation get stronger. Every time you hit that new goal that you had, every time you follow through on that promise and that commitment you made to yourself, your motivation gets stronger. Every time you do these things consistently over time, your willpower and your motivation get stronger and stronger and stronger until it's more of a habit. And you just have to keep, like, fake it till you make it. You just have to keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And eventually it becomes habit and it's not so difficult anymore. And on days that really suck, like in the morning, you woke up and it's already been a tough day, and throughout the day it's been a tough day at work and you've had to exercise your willpower all day long, just know that by the evening, your willpower is going to be tired and it's going to be more difficult to say no to things. So that might be when you end up having that ice cream after dinner before bed, or the dessert or snack, or maybe you stop and grab pizza on the way home for dinner or something like that. That's because it's been a tough day. So just expect on tough days it's going to be more difficult to stay strong and follow through with your goals, and just expect that and have a plan of action to overcome it. Number 9 is your weight is going to fluctuate, especially for women. So your hormones fluctuate throughout the month. It affects your weight and your water retention. And usually when your weight fluctuates throughout the month, throughout the week, even throughout the day, for some people it might just be 1 or 2 pounds throughout the day. For some people you might fluctuate 5 to 10 pounds throughout the day. It's not fat that you're fluctuating, it's water retention. If you ate a few more carbs the night before, you're going to retain a little bit more water. If you had a little bit higher sodium the day before in one of your meals, you're going to retain more water. If you didn't sleep enough, if you had a really killer lifting session and you worked out really hard, your muscles are going to retain more water. And so you might weigh a little more the next day. So keep that in mind and try to only weigh yourself once a week or every other week or once a month if it's something you really obsess about. Because I've seen some videos on YouTube where somebody weighed themselves throughout the entire day just to demonstrate that maybe in the morning they weighed this, after breakfast they weighed 2 pounds more, at lunchtime they weighed 5 pounds less, in the afternoon they weighed another 5 pounds more, after dinner they weighed another 7 pounds more. It's really going to fluctuate throughout the day. So don't attach your worth and your accomplishments and your progress to the number that's on the scale. That number that's on the scale is a very small measure of your progress, and you shouldn't focus on it. I do think it's important to keep an eye on the number on the scale because it is a marker for where you're at in your journey, but don't focus on it. Focus really on how your clothes are fitting, how you look in the mirror, how you feel. Those are more important. And just expect that sometimes you're going to wake up and you're going to weigh a few more pounds. And don't hate yourself for it. Don't beat yourself up about it. Don't get discouraged. Just know that more likely if you're a woman, it's just going to happen. It's just the way our bodies do things. Number 10 is binging and overeating is a habit. There's nothing wrong with you if you binge or overeat. It's a habit that you've most likely developed over time. Maybe it started because of something traumatic or some depression or stress in your life, and you ate to fill that void or to make yourself feel better mentally. And once you work through those things that were going on in your life, eventually it becomes a habit. So be really aware when you're eating, when you feel hungry. Be aware when you're eating. Like when you're eating, chew slowly. Be grateful for the food that you have. Enjoy the tastes. And you're going to eat less in the end. If it's a habit of yours to snack while you're watching TV, think about it. Am I really hungry right now? Or is it just a habit that I always grab something to munch on while I'm watching TV? You're standing in front of the fridge. Is it because you're really hungry? Or is it a habit that when you're bored or stressed or depressed or you didn't get enough sleep the night before, you automatically just go to the fridge and try and snack on something? Maybe at work, there's a big project that you need to get finished and you don't really feel like finishing it up. So is it a habit that when you have something you need to do that you don't feel like doing, maybe you snack on things? So just know that binging and overeating becomes a habit over time, like it did with me and lots of other people, and it's something that you can break when you're more aware of when you're eating and why you're eating. Number 11 is healthy food doesn't have to be boring. Your palate does change. So when we started our health and fitness journey several years ago, we ate a lot of different things that we don't even eat anymore because we don't need to. We ate a lot of like substitutes. Jeremy he would refuse to eat most vegetables unless it was like corn with butter. And if I gave him a new vegetable to try, usually he would drown it in ranch dressing or salt or butter. And certain vegetables, he was like, never serve that to me again. It was horrible. It was disgusting. One of those was zucchini, by the way. And this week on our new meal plan, we have zucchini in a couple of different recipes, and he loves it. He was asking when we're going to eat it again. So your palate will change. Things that, for example, like a dinner I might make for Jeremy and I that we think is really delicious. If you've been eating a lot of fast food and processed foods, you don't appreciate flavor as much. And I might feed this same dinner to you and you might think it's really gross. But over time, you're going to train your taste buds, and they're going to appreciate healthier, more natural whole foods versus the really processed foods. So just really experiment. Don't be afraid to try new things in the kitchen. When we first started our journey, I had like a few go-to meals that I knew were healthy, and I made them all the time, and we got really tired of them. So be willing to branch out, search for new recipes. I'm always sharing some of my favorites on my blog, in my fitness community, on videos. There's lots of great websites out there that share healthy recipes. Just be willing to try them out, and just know that sometimes they're going to suck. They're not going to turn out, or not everybody in your family is going to like them. But sometimes most of the time, you're going to get really awesome recipes that everybody likes, and you can throw them into the rotation. So just don't go from eating really unhealthy processed food all the time to eating something super clean and healthy, because there's a lot of great foods in the middle to sort of transition over to really clean, healthy foods. And it's okay to transition slowly into those foods, because it's more likely that if you transition from processed foods to whole foods more slowly, you and your family and your kids are going to appreciate it, and it's going to be a lot easier, and it's more likely that you guys are going to stick to it. For us, it took us probably 2 years to get to the point where we're eating so many different vegetables now that Jeremy didn't even know what they were called a couple years ago, and if I gave them to him, he would get angry because he thought they tasted so bad, but now he loves them. So just know that it's a process, and over time your palate will change, and you'll appreciate lots of new foods that you didn't like a couple of years ago. So number 12 is moderation works for most people. For some people, it doesn't work. It's just a recipe for disaster. That would be for people like with binge eating disorder. For most people with that, like for me, if I have something with processed sugar in it, it's like a domino effect, and I can't handle it in moderation at all. It just sets my cravings off, and I really struggle with it. So I've learned that moderation in some things just doesn't work for me, and that's okay. For other things, moderation is a really good thing, because if you're consistently in deprivation, you're going to feel like you're in deprivation all the time mentally, and you're not going to want to stick with anything because you're going to feel like life sucks. I don't ever get to have, if you tell yourself I can never have this, and it's something that you really love and enjoy, those few times that you do have it, because you're telling yourself you can never have it, you're going to overdo it. Instead of one cookie or one bowl of ice cream, you're going to eat the whole damn thing. And then you're going to feel bad about it and guilt, and then you're going to get into that mindset where I have to start over again tomorrow. You don't need to do that. If you can control your portions, which most people can, then don't beat yourself up over a cookie or a slice of pizza. If it's something you're doing every day and it's going over your calorie goals for the day, if you're consistently, like, if your goal is 1,500 calories and you ate all those calories, and in addition to that, you had an indulgence, that's where you're going to not get the results that you want. But if your indulgence and that thing that you're craving fits within that 1,500 calories a day, you can have it every day, and you shouldn't feel bad about it. But you just have to make sure that you're controlling those portions. And that was something that it took me a long time to learn, because I thought, well, I'm on this healthy eating, and if I have the cookie, or if I have the cake, or if I have the popcorn, or whatever it is, I'm throwing away my results. Now I'm screwing everything up, so now I'm just going to eat a bunch of it. And I had to realize that if it fits within your calorie goals for the day, there's nothing wrong with eating it. If it's something you enjoy, if you can sit down and actually appreciate it, you know, if you sit down with a small piece of cake, it fits within your goals for the day, sit down and enjoy that piece of cake. Don't scarf it down in 5 seconds and then feel guilty about it. Enjoy every bite and be proud of yourself for how far you've come and for the control that you have, and move on. Don't feel like, well, God, I just threw away all my hard work because I had that piece of cake. If it fits within your goals, then it's not a problem. You should enjoy it, and you should enjoy things in moderation. There's nothing wrong with that. Number 13 is you need to eat to lose. So a lot of people I talk to, and I think a lot of us, I don't know if it's from the media or from fad diets or what it is, but a lot of us feel like we really have to severely restrict our calories, and we think we need to be eating 1,200 or less calories. Well, for a lot of us, that's not enough, in addition to working out. And your body, you're going to screw with your metabolism. You're going to have issues with your metabolism. You're going to have a lot of other health issues. You can really screw up your hormones as well if you're constantly in deprivation when it comes to your calories. So know that when you're eating clean, whole foods, not processed foods, 1,500 to 2,000 calories isn't necessarily a bad thing if those are good, healthy calories. And within those goals, you've got some things in moderation. You're still going to hit your goals. So the number of calories you need to be taking in every day really depends on what weight you're currently at, what kind of lifestyle you have, and what kind of a workout program you're doing. So if you need help figuring that all out, let me know, and I can help you figure out how many calories you should shoot for each day. Just know that this like misconception that 1,000 to 1,200 calories is not one size fits all for every woman who's trying to lose weight. It can cause a lot of other issues in the process. So number 14 is about diet foods and low-fat foods. So they can do more harm than good. A lot of times when we start on a health and fitness journey, suddenly we're eating all this low-fat dairy and fat-free dairy, or we go down the cookie cracker aisle and we see all these low-fat and fat-free and sugar-free processed foods. And we think, well, they're low-fat and fat-free and they're diet foods, so they're okay to eat. Wrong. They're loaded with chemicals. They're loaded with hidden sugars by other names, and they're very addictive in the way that your body processes them. And most of those processed diet and low-fat foods also cause bloat. So if you are having a lot of problems in the midsection, getting those abs to come out or just losing some weight around the midsection, it could be because of dairy and diet foods and fat-free foods. They have lots of hidden sugars. They have so many different chemicals. And like I said, those foods are made to be addictive, and so it's really hard to stop with one portion. Usually you go back and have 2 or 3 portions, and suddenly this fat-free or diet food isn't so fat-free in diet anymore because you had 3 or 4 portions of it instead. And most likely when you're eating those processed foods, they're replacing whole foods that you should be eating instead. So my suggestion is if you're going to have something where there's a low-fat or fat-free alternative, 9 times out of 10, go for the full regular version of it. It's going to be less processed. And just stay away from the low-fat and diet foods altogether, and just really focus on eating more clean, whole foods and enjoying some things in moderation. So I got 2 more. After I drink a little bit of water. All right, so the last 2. Number 15 is weightlifting is important. So I learned this several years ago. A lot of women are really fearful about lifting weights because you're afraid that you're going to look like the Hulk. Well, number 1, a female body does not have the required testosterone levels to build up and look like a scary superhuman bodybuilder. The women who look like that work out 5 or 6 hours a day, and they've been doing it for several years. They follow a super strict meal plan, and many times they're taking supplements, some that are okay and some that are really bad for you. So if you're eating clean, whole foods with occasional indulgences, maybe a few healthy supplements that are whole foods and natural, you're never, ever, ever going to look scary, strong, and muscular like a man. You just won't get there. You'd have to work out 5 or 6 hours a day, like I said. It's not going to happen with a 30 to 60-minute workout routine. So you need to, it's really important to incorporate weightlifting at least 3 days a week. What is that going to do? Well, number 1, the more muscle you carry, the more calories you burn throughout the day. So when you do a cardio routine, you might burn calories for 20 or 30 minutes after your workout is over. If you have a really great lifting session and you lift it heavy, you're going to burn calories throughout the entire day to sustain that muscle and to repair that muscle. Number 2, when you look at, and you shouldn't compare yourself to other people. You should just work on being a better version of you, better version than you were yesterday. But when you look at women who you think, well, I would love to look like that, those most likely they're lifting. So when you get those beautiful feminine curves and some defined muscle, you're going to get that from lifting. You could do cardio all day long every day and still not have, you know, a nice tight booty or some definition in your arms, definition in your abs. That's all going to really come from weightlifting. And with that, programs like 21 Day Fix or all the different programs that I suggest to my challengers, most all of them incorporate weightlifting in some way. And our first instinct is to go and get like 2-pound weights or 3-pound weights, and we just do the same 3-pound weights through the whole program. Well, you're not going to get the same results if you do that. You want to lift so that the last couple of reps you're able to do in good form, but it would be impossible to do another rep, right? So if you have 3 sets of 15 bicep curls, you want the rep 13, 14, and 15 to be super difficult that you wouldn't be able to push out another one but still have good form. If you're not feeling that when you're lifting, you're not lifting heavy enough. And you want your lower body weights to be heavier. If you're lifting, you know, like bicep curls for 10 pounds, but you're doing squats with 5 pounds, that's really out of balance. You need to flip that. So you need to be lifting heavier lower body and lifting lighter upper body. But with that said, you want to be lifting to fatigue. You know, you couldn't do another rep. So make sure that you are incorporating some lifting. You're going to hit your goals much faster. You're going to get that body that you really want to see in the mirror. And you're going to be healthier overall. If you're somebody who loves to run or do cardio, by having a weightlifting routine in your program, you're going to be preventing injury as well because you're going to be building strong muscles around your joints. So for a lot of reasons, weightlifting is really important and you shouldn't be afraid of it. Just know that you should always be lifting really heavy. That's important too. And the last one is to be following a balanced meal plan. You need to stop focusing on low-carb diets, high protein diets or low fat diets. These are all things that are not sustainable long term. And granted, like, people lose a lot of weight on the Atkins diet, but as far as your health goes, it's not good for your health to be on that much protein for the rest of your life. People lose weight when they do low carb diets at first because foods that have carbs in them naturally retain a little bit of water. So yeah, you'll lose weight a little bit, but you won't stick with it because who can live without carbs for the rest of their life? It would be miserable. People lose weight on low fat diets initially, but they're never sustainable. So you need to really think about having a balance between all of your macros. So you need to have a balance between your protein and your carbs and your veggies and your fruits and your healthy fats. And when you have that balance and you have proper portion control, the weight comes off and you find a way of eating that is sustainable for the rest of your life. And it doesn't feel like a restrictive diet because you don't want to feel that way because you won't stick with it. If whatever you're doing now as far as your workouts and your meal plan is concerned, if you look ahead and you don't think that you could sustain that and do that for the rest of your life, you're not doing something that's going to do good for you. You need to reevaluate and try to find something else that fits better, something you can do long-term and forever. And you need to get away from those fad diets. They don't work long-term. Most of the time, we restrict ourselves so much from the carb or the fat, or we eat so much protein that we get other issues along with it, to the point where we have to quit whatever that diet is, and then we gain weight back, and then we feel like we're never going to get where we want to go. So the real thing is balance, a balanced meal plan, a balanced workout routine, and just know that life is going to ebb and flow, and some days it's going to suck, some days are going to be easy, some days it's going to be hard to get in your workout, so throw in 10-minute abs. Some days it's going to be hard to eat healthy, so if you ate out and had a Burger King or something for lunch on Tuesday, make it a really clean eating day on Wednesday so that it all balances out. So I hope that these 16 things helped you guys out. There are things that I've learned over the last couple of years with regards to my health and fitness journey, and I know that if I had known all these things and if they had clicked for me a couple of years ago, I'd be further along in my journey. So comment below this video, and if there's anything that you've learned in your health and fitness journey that I didn't cover and you want to share, just put those in the comments and share that. If you liked this video, give me a thumbs up. Feel free to share it with people who might need to see it as well. And I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.